All right, I just want to give you a quick overview of the new way I introduced to do division to give a second approach that the students can do versus the long division way that they were taught in 4th grade. The old way, they looked at how many times does 6 divide into 8? Well, it can't because it's smaller. So now we look at how many times does 63 go into 8. In this method of long division, you have to be more exact and more perfect. The new way, we're looking at this number as a whole. 6,321. How many times does that go into 8? And we use more of an estimation, so you don't have to be perfect. So what I have the students doing is actually taking our basic facts. 8 times 2, we know is 16. 8 times 5 is 40. And 8 times 10 is 80. And I have them use the 2, the 5, and the 10 for every single problem because we know that then 8 times 20 is 160. 8 times 200 is 1,600. This gives us just the basics, and we work with that. So then what we do is we draw a line straight down. And now I think, how many times does 8 go into 6,321? Well, I'm not trying to be perfect and know exactly. So what I'm going to do is I know if I multiply 8 times 500, that gives me 4,000. So I'm going to write 500 here, and then write 4,000 here, and then I subtract it, just like you normally would. 1, 2, 3, and this is 2. So now I'm looking at how many times does 2,321 go into 8? Well, using my basic numbers over here, I know I can't use 500 because 4,000 is bigger, so I'm going to go to something else. I'm going to go to 200 because that gives me 1,600. So I'll use 200. 1,600. I subtract like normal. 1, 2, 0 is 2. I need to borrow here, so I'll cross off. Borrow, this gives me 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. So now I'm looking at this number, which is 721. How many times does 721 go into 8? Well, again, I need to look at, I can't use 200 because it's too big. What's something that I could use that might be a little bit smaller? I can't use 80 because that'd give me 800. Again, too big. So I'm going to use 50 and take 50 because I know that 8 times 5 is 40. So 8 times 50 is 400. Subtract this. 1, 2, 7 minus 4 is 3. So now I'm down to 321. Using that, how many times does 8 go into 321? I'm going to use 20 to give me 160. I'm still on the paper, yes, 160. That's 1. Again, I have to borrow. 12 minus 6 is 6. Gives me 1. So now I'm at 161. So now how many times does 8 go into 161? Again, I'm going to use 20 to give me 160. Subtract that, that leaves me with 1. So now I have all these numbers over here. What am I going to do with them? Well, I am going to take all those and I'm going to actually now add those up. So 500 plus 200 is 700. And then this is 90. So then my answer is 790. And I have my 1. So my full answer at the top would be 790, remainder 1. So it does take a little bit longer to get to it, but again, this way allows students to be a little bit more flexible and they don't have to be exact in knowing their multiplication. I've had students that just go by 20s. So yes, it goes a little bit longer, but you don't need to be exact, and then you add up on this side. So if you have any questions, just let me know.